Ondanks die samewerkingsooreenkoms op nasionale vlak kon die DA en die ANC nie in Gauteng tot 'n vergelyk kom nie. Die ANC het in die verkiesing 34% van die stemme gekry en het 7 LER-poste behou. Die DA wat 28% van die stemme gekry het, is net 3 poste aangebied. Die premier Panyaza Lesufi het toe voortgegaan om 'n minderheidsregering aan te kondig. Die nuwe LER vir landbou, Vuyiswa Ramokgopa van Mzansi, sluit nou by my aan. Vuyiswa, you campaigned very hard against the ANC. One could argue that Mzansi was born because of mismanagement by the ANC over the past few decades. Why then join Panyaza Lesufi's minority government?
Good evening, Lourensa. So I think, to be clear, we campaigned for a change of leadership. We wanted to see a different type of leadership in government, leadership based on meritocracy, leadership based on accountability and transparency. And many of us came from other sectors, and we raised our hands and said we are willing to be part of the solution and not just to be an opposition party. And so when we were given an opportunity to actually be part of the solution, we felt that it was important that we actually put into practice some of the ideas and things that we have been championing and promising the people of Gauteng. And this portfolio gives us an opportunity to do so.
When it comes to passing budgets, etc., and other votes in the legislature, would you and would Mzansi have concerns about voting with the EFF or the MK party in the province to pass through budgets?
Well, you'll remember that we only have one seat. So firstly, we are unlikely to even be a deciding factor or a deciding vote in any of the votes. As it stands right now, we are part of a minority government in Gauteng. So for any budgets to be passed, I believe that support will have to be gained, be it from the DA, the EFF, or any of the other parties that are part of the legislature. So the reality is that we are now in the territory of multi-party governance. And so we have to be able to agree on priorities. It doesn't mean we have the same ideological foundations as other parties, but we have to be able to agree on certain outcomes and outcomes and outputs, and be able to work across different parties to be able to actually execute. That is just the reality of the space we're in. And whether it's the ACDP or BOSA or DA who is bringing forward motions, if those decisions are in the interests of the people of Gauteng and we feel that they're aligned with some of the change we want to see, then yes, we will vote for it.
What challenges do you foresee being a minority government?
It is challenging because, of course, there is always the threat, you know, that there could be some level of malicious intent, motions of no confidence, things that we've seen happening and transpiring in local government that have destabilized government and made it difficult to actually execute on the thing that we came here to do. And so we're hoping that as members, you know, different parties, we can operate in good faith. I'm not saying that people shouldn't be held accountable. They should. And if there are things that are genuinely not right, and if government and the government of provincial unity is not conducting itself in a manner that it has set out to do and that is in the interests of the people of Gauteng, then of course it must be held accountable. And that goes for any party. But all I'm saying is that I hope that this doesn't become, you know, an opportunity for people to play politics and for us to destabilize governance in Gauteng, where we so desperately need to see progress for the people of Gauteng.
On that point, Premier Panyaza Lesufi has been criticised in the past for various things. Have you had discussions with him? Do you put your trust in him to address those issues that you know we need addressed in this province?
Look, my focus has really been on the portfolio that we have been given. The reality is that there is no party that is a majority in government. And so it becomes very difficult. We can't necessarily speak for any other party or for any other leader. However, we are saying we're willing to work collaboratively with other parties in the government to be able to deliver outcomes. And so all I can really vouch for is what we intend to do with the little that we've been given. And this particular portfolio gives us an opportunity to really start getting into the work of governance, building a track record of governance. I mean, we are a relatively new party. And so to give us an opportunity to actually get into the inner workings of government and prepare us for the bigger job that I think lies ahead in 2026, local government, and 2029.
What are your plans for this portfolio? I mean, we are in Gauteng. It's not known for an agricultural province. It's also one of the most urbanized So in terms of rural development,
Yeah.
what are your plans?
So Gauteng is actually a very exciting province from an agricultural perspective and the opportunities that exist. You will obviously know it's the most populous province, so we eat the most. And we also are really the commercial hub. So whether it is the Joburg market, the Tshwane market, and the various markets where fresh produce is traded. These are some of the two biggest markets in the country. So from an economic impact perspective, actually the agricultural sector is quite significant. Agro-processing is another area that is really quite critical to the manufacturing economy of Gauteng. And so getting that, reignited, and it's such an important opportunity for job creation, and igniting agro-processing. But there's also so much, I think there's a perception that just because Gauteng is small, we don't have a lot of land, that perhaps maybe that agriculture isn't possible. Of course it is. But really here it's about, tapping into the technical skills, the knowledge we have, the technology we have. We are miles ahead of some of our counterparts, even on the continent, in terms of the technology that we have access to. And to farm more productively is really where the opportunity lies here. And so part of the work that I've been doing just in the last few days is really tapping into some of the stakeholders, both in the private sector as well as in the non-profit sector, who are doing a lot of that work.
I want to ask you, on that point, you've spent a lot of time in the private sector. Are there opportunities in your portfolio specifically to bring the private sector on board to help create jobs and economic opportunities in this province?
Absolutely. I mean, it's no secret. The departmental budget for agriculture and rural development is very small. So there is absolutely no way that we'll be able to do everything we want to do just by ourselves. We have to be able to build those linkages, both with the private sector, the non-profit sector, community-based organizations. There are a number of them that are already plugged into doing the work of dealing with food insecurity issues, subsistence farming, and driving localized food production. And we want to be partners to organizations like that. And also working across departments, because it's also not a single department issue. There are issues of urban spatial planning, where you have to be able to engage with the likes of COGTA. Education as well, the initiatives around training. I mean, if we want to deepen the skills base in this sector, we need to be able to collaborate with the education sector and the technical colleges that are feeding the skills into our sector. So I think there's massive opportunity. And as I said, Gauteng is where the most people are. And where the most people are is where we need to ensure that there's enough food for all those people.
Absolutely, Vuyiswa. Thank you so much.
Thank you.